Welcome to Nerdities. Bitches.
Hey everybody, I am Mike.
I am Justin.
And we also have Vin. And we have issues of comics we'd like to talk about. So, it's been a while. We don't do this show as much as we used to because life. The answer for everything. Life. Life doesn't allow us to buy as many comics as we like, and for some of us, life doesn't allow us to read the comics that have been purchased. But we put some time in, and we put some thought into that time, and we want to talk about it with you. We're going to do a 2024 year review, we're going to look ahead a little bit, and we're going to do a couple listicles. We have thoughts. So, where do we start thinking? I'd say let's look back a bit. The year has passed, 2024 happened, and I spent a lot of money on comics. Let's talk about it.
That was something, I'm glad you said it. Because I'm sitting there reading, and I'm like checking out the prices on the covers, and I'm like, man, I remember when this shit was under $1.
Specifically remember the day they went up to $1.25, and me and my friend nearly had a conniption. Like next week, they're going to be bumping everything up, and like, oh great, now I can only buy 2 books because I'm 12. Nowadays, you're lucky if you get a $5 book. Now, $4. $4 is standard for Marvel now. $5 for pretty much any miniseries. $5 minimum. Let's get the one out of the way that I didn't actually read. If you've been with us for a while, you know I'm not as much a DC head as I am a Marvel. That's being very kind. Hearing good things about this absolute universe, though. At first, when we heard about it, we kind of beat it up for being an ultimate ripoff. But it's definitely its own thing.
Yo, I got to look through some of the Ultimate Batman shit.
You're even saying it.
Or shit, Absolute Batman. That story is interesting, man. He's like a blue-collar construction worker. Alfred's like the fucking government agent.
Is it still Bruce Wayne, though? Like, they did a kind of a House of M to him.
I know, yeah.
Way. The story, do you know which story it spans out of? It's like is it the metal story or death metal?
I think it was out off of one of those big-ass crossovers.
Yeah, it was some kind of universe rewriting thing, which they tend to do every 2 or 3 years. It's a bit much for me. That's why I don't really get involved too much. But it didn't completely rewrite the universe. From what I'm told, Darkseid created a new reality where things were a lot harsher, a lot more Darkseid-like. And the results we get are a Batman who's got 0 money, but tons of willpower.
Yeah.
A Superman who was raised on Krypton for a while, and then came to Earth with his parents.
Fucking Batman's chess piece. It turns into like a fucking hammer or axe or some shit.
Yeah, some kind of giant mace thing.
Yeah.
I think they are calling it an axe. And Wonder Woman, I heard a breakdown what happened with her, but it wasn't too different.
It's not.
Do you remember the details? Because that's one I didn't get too into.
No, but if you give me a second.
Okay. We'll dip back into the Absolute Universe in a sec. A good parallel to that, as we brought up earlier, would be the Ultimate Universe. Marvel's, long-running alternate world that occasionally bumps into their standard. But the past is its own thing. This one's a little more intertwined with the classic Marvel Universe.
Okay.
Elevator pitch. A fucked up Reed Richards went into the past and screwed with everyone's history. But back to the Absolute Universe.
So in this version, Wonder Woman was raised in hell rather than Themyscira.
That's a choice.
Yep.
Is she like evil? Do they say?
Excuse me. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Still essentially Wonder Woman, but a bit more, hardcore. A bit more Aussie.
What's her outfit like? Is it a little more crass leather nipple rings.
I doubt they're going to show the nipple rings. Not that I'm saying she wouldn't.
She's in like armor.
Like a steampunk thing.
Like it kind of looks like what you would imagine some kind of demon armor would be like.
It's pretty sick.
And she's got a big ass sword like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII.
That's cool.
Yeah, she's got a Buster sword.
Yeah.
And the basic layout of it's very Wonder Woman, the one I'm looking at least, but she doesn't have exposed legs. That looks like red wrapping.
Yeah.
And all the gold areas are either black or silver. So this is not a very happy, shiny version of her. Yeah, that looks like a Wonder Woman that came from hell. If I had more money, this is something I'd get into, this universe.
She's also a witch.
Yeah.
So magic.
Try drowning her.
Yeah.
We're nice to say. Back to the Ultimate Universe, though. So, evil, twisted, fucked up Reed Richards goes into the past, and oddly picks literally drops in 1963, and just stops all the heroes from being made. It's not the only change he made, but it's like the specific point that he picks. So now, what we have going forward is Howard Stark and Obadiah Stane working with him and a bunch of other twisted fucks running this world. And then another version of the Reed Richards. I can't give away too much. I'd be blowing a lot of stuff moving forward for you. Let's just say.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because there's a lot of stuff about who put this Ultimates together. Like Doom is running the Ultimates essentially, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not Doom.
Right, it's Reed.
Yeah, okay.
That's all
Doom,
covered.
Yeah, but how he became Doom comes up later.
I read all that.
The description of it or the actual scene, because I'm pretty sure the actual scenes just happened in a recent one.
Oh, I thought it was all when the Maker had them all locked up creating the world and shit.
Kind of. They go in depth. They show his actual, I'm going to use the word torture. So the Fantastic Four doesn't exist in this universe. Peter Parker doesn't get his powers until he's in his early 30s, I'd say. Maybe late 20s, a couple of kids, married.
33.
33? That's a good age. Things are starting to break down. T'Challa, of course, Wakanda's the only place that actually stays the same, essentially, but it's the pressures from outside that change. First 12 issues, Black Panther versus Moon Knight.
So it was real weird.
Mm-hmm.
When I picked that up and I was like, wow. I would have thought he would have completely fucked with the whole Wakanda thing.
I think that speaks to the fact that Wakanda is nothing to fuck with, even in that universe. Like, they're so advanced that even a guy like him, he's going to tread lightly. And maybe they're going to write it that he feels that he didn't even need to. He's so all-powerful, he can let them just sit there and wait to crush him. I'm loving the art in that one. That dude, he did Secret Warriors for a while. Very detailed. Pretty great. And Hickman's writing it. And it doesn't feel very Hickman either, I'll give it that. It's a lot more emotional, a lot less sci-fi. Fantastic Four had a hell of a year. At the beginning of it, an entire city block with their kids got snapped out of time for 12 months.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so they were not on the run, but they were kind of pariahs in New York. And they went back to good old traveling around doing adventure stuff, but not cosmic. Local stuff, going from town to town, and every town they went to seemed to have a problem. So yeah, they could turn this into a sitcom very easily, except for the whole budget thing. Great fun. It overlapped into Blood Hunt, we were talking about earlier, which was one of the big crossovers of the year that had a lot of ramifications. So many ramifications, it made Justin think it wasn't even canon.
That's what I was saying. I was like, oh, this is like, the fucking Null shit, where it was just like, You know, a thing happens, but it's so outlandish that it can't possibly, affect the legit world.
You remember that 6-part Dark Ages story?
Yes.
Yeah, I would understand why you'd think it was something like that.
Right.
They advertise that story where the whole world goes dark, and you're like, oh shit, the whole world loses electricity. This is going to be a good miniseries. And then they jump forward like 15 years in the first issue, and you're like, oh, okay, this is a what if.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the premise of this is vampires.
Vampires everywhere.
Everywhere.
The whole sun is blocked out due to dark energy. And more than one occasion, someone's like, didn't this just happen a couple years ago? Didn't, like, symbiotes cover the Earth? Why does this shit keep happening to us? And the big ramifications were Blade gets possessed by a vampire demon, goes on kind of a killing spree, murders Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange's body is still comatose, and he's stuck in his astral form. Infects Black Panther with vampirism, and more importantly, because this one stuck longer, Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And that's been his journey for the last few months, for the last 6 months, I'd say. Trying to figure out how to get rid of this shit and dealing with the rage. Right now, there's a pretty cool crossover going on in his book where Black Panther's taken him under his wing, gave him a new suit to try and quell all of this, and then brought him before Bast to see if Bast could heal him. Bast didn't like it.
No.
Bast's not happy. And then another god got involved. An African spider god.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude. So yeah, Blood Hunt, I didn't initially want to buy it. I didn't go deep. I didn't get everybody's. If it was crossed over in the regular series that I was already picking up, sure, great. I got to see what happened with the Fantastic Four as far as that was concerned. And Reed Richards stretched so far that he covered all of Madison Square Garden. He actually ripped, he got too big. They were really pushing him. It was fun stuff to read. Great torment. But if you want great torment, you should check out, whenever the omnibus comes out, the entire Orcus battle. Or, what was the overarching story? It was the end of Krakoa, right?
It was the fall of
Krakoa. Fall of X.
Fall of X.
Yeah. We've spoken many times on the main show, and anytime we do issues about Krakoa, and how pissed off we are that this golden age of mutants it had the most obvious shelf life ever.
Yeah.
But we wanted to keep going on. What had happened was racist Sentinels.
Yes.
But not just that. In classic Hickman fashion, it doesn't just become about racist Sentinels and asshole humans. It becomes about Mr. Sinister trying to make himself God when it all comes down to it. So he juggled two completely different stories at the same time and actually made it work.
His shit was crazy.
Yeah, these concepts that they were throwing out, dominions and like overworlds and universes attacking each other because they've become basically a giant universal phalanx covenant. It's some high concept shit that makes me feel like I shouldn't even pick up a pencil.
And of course his own clone trying to like outdo himself. Like his fucking...
They gave a great origin for who Sinister is. His past has been very muddled. But if this sticks as canon and nobody retcons it, Nathaniel Essex, the man who is Sinister, let's just start there, Mr. Sinister, has been dead forever. But he made 4 clones, 3 of himself and 1 of his wife.
Yes.
One of them he gave the mutant gene. And he did all of this in order to figure out a way to basically become a universal god. And it comes to fruition only because Xavier wanted his whole Krakoa. It was the only opportunity he would have had to get control of every mutant.
Yeah.
Sins of Sinister. That's another great crossover. If you're going to check out Fall of X, you should really check out the Sins of Sinister setup to show just how big a bastard he was during the height of Krakoa. It was a very good year. It would be great if I could go into some indie stuff, but we're very rarely an indie show here. The only thing I think I could bring up, I'm going to be dropping in my top 5 stories Vinnie should read in his life. So, talk about that later. looking forward, the other big, massive, super-duper fucking thing to come out of Blood Hunt was the only way to end it was to give Doctor Doom the title and power of Sorcerer Supreme. 2025, I'm hoping, is going to be a year on par with the Dark Reign as far as villains doing villain shit. One World Under Doom could be the coolest story in years if they don't shit this bad. They're already promising depowered Thing. He's going to heal the Thing. Why does he do that thumbs up shit? He's going to make his own Avengers, and we'll talk about that later on the other show.
The Doom Avengers?
Superior Avengers. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to love this lineup.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this like... is he good?
I think it's classic Doom. In his mind, he thinks this is the path the world needs to go on. He's much like Kingpin and Daredevil. I was just recently rewatching the first season. He thinks he's doing good, and the ends justify the means. And now that he's got the power, he can finally make those ends happen. He has the means, and shit's gonna get nasty. I don't know how they're gonna make it end any different than Secret Wars, though. Unless it's not a standoff between him and Reed again. Now it's a standoff between him and Strange. That's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only way to get it back into Strange's hands, is to focus it back on him. But once Reed's around, their issues eclipse everything else. It's a good year. Looking forward to... Oh shit, there was another DC thing that was announced recently. I totally forgot about it, though. That's DC, like I said. Not quite as worried. Now, Vinny, you enjoy comics, right?
Wait,
Love 'em.
before we move on to the Vinny's list thing.
Yeah, you got stuff.
Huh?
You got stuff.
I do. I want to talk. We'll go to the Ultimates real quick.
Okay.
So, I like what they were doing in the story where where Tony and Reed, because that's what I'm going to refer to him as,
Yeah.
create the origin boxes.
These are a very intelligent and elegant answer to the problem they set up. It's almost like they made this whole story to do this.
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
Yeah. If you already know who's supposed to be these heroes, that they're still around, and you have the ability to give them these powers, just basically Amazoning a box to them, or teleporting a box to them,
Yeah.
telling the story of what their life could be, and letting them have the choice. That's been the setup of the vast majority of this Ultimate Universe, with the exception of Wolverine and Black Panther.
Yeah. I really enjoy Ultimate Spider-Man. Yeah, I like that his kid helped him design the suit after he came home and scared the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I just got to the issue where Harry unmasks him
Okay.
and himself. I must have missed where Peter got the suit from then.
It was all part of the package.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's like pico technology, nanotech to the nth degree. That's like, did you get? No, you didn't get to the part where where Osborn's scientist gets involved, have you?
I guess not.
No, it's a well-known name. I just don't want to completely spoil it for you.
Okay.
It's a version of a character.
All right.
They get into how advanced it is and how he should have been able to beat the shit out of Harry if he knew what he was actually doing, because the suit is so advanced and he's so much more powerful. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'm digging what they're doing there. I think I'm gonna hate it when the Maker comes out of Maker City.
I have that concern myself. They're building up, and they have an 18-month window to fix things to get themselves ready.
Yeah.
And they're now at about 12 months left.
Yeah.
And shit's going bad like crazy.
Yeah.
So we're in the Empire Strikes Back territory of this story. They're probably going to keep him there for a little while. We're not going to see many victories. But the team has grown. Once you get to where I'm at in Ultimates, the team is pretty massive with some heavy hitters.
All right.
And some really fucked up stuff. I don't know if you've seen anything about the new She-Hulk.
Not yet.
Very tragic story. All around. Some really fucked up Hickman shit.
Then the Fall of X stuff. So, the White Hot Room, which, by the way, fucking stupid name.
They really are running out of names for places.
Yeah.
But, like, it's the essence of the Phoenix, right? It's fire incarnate.
I get it. But you could have fucking something better than that.
But I think it's the fact that they have to say it so many times.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. It is grating. And then that version of Krakoa comes from the future, and then it like fucks the other Krakoa, and then
the whole story, the whole Krakoa thing starts off so beautiful, so great. You're happy for the mutants. Everything's going great. Shit starts to go bad. And when the whole era of Krakoa comes to an end, they basically give you some hope, like, oh, don't worry, down the road, they figure it out. The mutants have their home, and Krakoa is a beautiful place, but the ones that we're watching now will never experience it.
Yeah. And then Apocalypse is just like, fuck my people. You need me. And then future mutants like, nah, we appreciate what you did.
Yeah. Bro, you don't define us.
Yeah.
Thanks for the help, but you don't tell us how to live. See, they had a very peaceful future, I think it was. Like they had actually found balance. And the rub for Apocalypse is, no, the end of the game, there is no end game. There's always struggle. You're always proving yourself.
And they're just like, no.
No, you're wrong. We figured out a way.
I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then the X-Men split 3 different ways.
Currently, there's like 4 different teams at least.
Is there 4?
Cyclops is running a team.
Right. Him and Hank.
Yeah. I can't remember who the other team is. I think it's Rogue's running that team.
Yeah, Rogue and Gambit had a whatever.
Exceptional X-Men, which is pretty much an all-girl team with Monet, and I think Husk might be a part of it. No, Kitty's in it.
Okay.
And then there's NYX, which isn't really a team. It's a bunch of kids just trying to survive and get off the streets, as far as I've heard. But yeah, we're back now to massive amounts of teams.
Okay. And then Xavier, like, died but didn't.
They put him in lockdown.
They put him in lockdown, and then he, like, astral projects to check on all of his proteges, meets up with Jean, and she's like, I'm the fucking Phoenix Force, and blah, 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 blah. She's like, we know we'll eventually get there, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, cool. And his astral form falls back to Earth, and his body crashes out. And they, like, transporting him somewhere, and they're like, the guy in the truck's like, I know what comatose looks like. I work in the coma ward, blah, 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 blah. And, like, his eyes fucking open up, and the next thing you know, the next panel's like, the truck's on its side, and he had escaped.
Yeah. Evil Professor X definitely doesn't work. It can't work.
Yeah.
He's too powerful. You can do too much damage too quickly. You can't write him, as far as I'm concerned, evil and expect it to last long, or expect him to never get beaten. Yeah. So he's going to go through a phase of depression, I believe. That's what we're going to get from him at the best. How do you redeem him? You need to redeem him eventually.
They sort of kind of started doing that towards the beginning of the Fall of X. Like when the Orcish shit went down at the Hellfire Gala, the last one.
Yeah.
And then he was stuck on that island. He's like, I'm going to make things right.
But in trying to make things right, he made deals with the devil.
Yes.
Yes. And the deals they were. Like, not just finding someone from the outside to help you with your problem that's negative. No, like literally going to your enemies and being like, all right, I'll give you what you want. I'll let you fuck over humanity if you save mutants.
Yeah.
Like completely betraying the dream.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, I guess it kind of worked out for most of the X-Men, because, like, did they put a fucking hurting on Nimrod.
Mm-hmm. 3 times at once, right?
Yeah.
He was superposition.
Yeah, that was the shit with Polaris and Magneto. Scott and Storm was, like, I guess the fucking Wolverine was fighting one, maybe?
Mm.
And then Storm was just, like, fucking raged out.
It's pretty massive. A pretty massive story. Which would you say was harder to follow? That or X of Swords?
The fucking Swords one was... I can't.
There's a lot of impossible.
Yeah. Like, it was... I mean, they had a long time telling Fall of X. So even though they were jumping between, like, 8 people's stories that were, like, weaving through this entire thing, because of the shit with Kitty, Scott being captured and tortured, that shit was fucked up.
So does I Shut.
All the shit with Sinister.
Firestar.
Yeah, Firestar being, like, the fucking double agent.
Yeah.
Like, all that shit. And then... But the fucking X of Swords was... that was a bit too far. I feel like that was, like, filler episode shit in a long series.
As I'm looking back on it, it feels like someone was like, what if we did Labyrinth,
Yeah.
but X-Men?
What if we did Labyrinth and Mortal Kombat together?
Yeah. With the X-Men.
Yeah.
In some wacky-ass world. Because you could do Labyrinth and X-Men in the 616.
Sure.
And wacky enough shit. But no, let's take them to a world where everything's upside down.
Yeah.
And normal rules don't apply. And let's do it for like 24 issues.
And then we'll get back to the story we were telling.
Yes. It was kind of a cul-de-sac when all was said and done.
Yeah. Ghostbusters back in town. That was cute.
It definitely set up some of the issues that they played with in the second movie.
Yeah.
Phoebe not being ready for this.
Well.
Yeah. It would be nicer if they had a better art style on it. It was a bit...
I didn't hate it. There's one of the next 2 things I'm going to talk about, I absolutely fucking hate the art.
Okay.
But I didn't mind this. It's very, like, Saturday morning cartoony.
Yeah, it's very simple. I not like I want a photorealistic style or
Right.
anything, but something... I can't even say bouncy or something a bit more complete. The lines looked a little bit sloppy in that.
A little bit. But I didn't mind it because, like, it's not like it didn't fit the world. Because we've seen so many versions of those characters. But yeah, I liked it. Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer, continues to be just another, old woman Buffy.
I've completely stalled on that. There's 3 issues in
know.
my car that I didn't read, and there's like 5 issues that came out that I didn't pick up by now, so I think that one's in the wind.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We're Buffy fans, but, like, they wanted to do their Old Man Logan, and they're kind of doing it.
Yeah. They're doing their Old Man Logan and really pulling the taffy.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, because every time you think Buffy's at the end, it's just, no, okay, she's a little more banged up. She's got a new problem. A new curse comes along with the Slayer title, and now she's got to babysit Willow and Tara's kid. And that shows how far behind I am on the weird shit that's happened in the series. I didn't know Tara came back.
Yeah, neither did I.
No clue. And they had a kid together.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big wow in this story is they had a kid together. But
Magic.
canonically, what's up?
Magic.
I got magic, but like, what was the story? Did they really pull it off? Because that was one of those kind of like Uncle Ben kind of things. you're probably not going to bring Tara back because it was so formative to making Willow what she was.
Yeah. I could be Terra from a different dimension. I don't fucking know.
Terraform.
And the last thing is the Gargoyle of Gotham 2.
I can understand where you're coming from on this one.
I fucking hate that art. Hate it.
It's busy.
It's yeah, but like in like one of the worst fucking ways possible.
It's got like it's by Raphael Grampa. Every time I say his name, I feel weird because it is literally spelled Grampa.
Yeah.
With some italices or whatever. I'm not even sure what those things are called on top because he's from a Latin country, so I go Grampa. But yeah, Raphael Grampa.
Yeah.
Who's got a style, if you know who Frank Quitely is, very Quitely-esque style.
I don't like his shit either.
I can understand. It's so hard to describe. Everyone looks wrinkly, no matter how young they are.
Everything's wrinkled. Everything. Yeah. Fabric is wrinkled. It's skin tight. But there's fucking wrinkles in it.
Hair is wrinkled, like wood has kind of a wrinkle feel to it.
Yeah.
Like everything is way too cross-hatched for me and very dark. Not like too dark. The name of the thing is Gargoyle of Gotham, but very, very, very dark.
And it's a shame because, like, the stories are fucking weird and interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of the killer he's following in it, but it's...
Yeah,
that every time he goes to kill someone, he starts crying. Like, he's that kind of emotionally unstable.
Yes, Vin, that is the thing.
Yeah.
The bad guy starts crying when he goes to murder.
Yeah. And it's an Elseworlds title. It's very distinct. I like what they're doing with this version of Batman, too. They
Sure.
did some really cool tech stuff. Where he's at in his story is very fun. But yeah, the art itself
The art's
is
fucking
grating.
terrible. I fucking can't. It's so bad.
I'll use the word hate, but like, at first I kind of liked it.
I don't fucking like it at all. I didn't like it on the first run. I don't fucking like it now. I don't like that style. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of like an amalgam of like the old pulp Tales from the Crypt comic and like the shitty sketches inside of Mad Magazine.
Okay.
So it's like if you took what I enjoy of the pulp Tales from the Crypt stuff, but like married it with that squiggly ass dirt Mad Magazine shit.
Like Crumb. But was it like Harvey Crumb? That kind of like indie wacky style is what he's got going on.
Yeah.
You can see the stink lines coming off people even when they don't smell.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything looks dirty, even if it should.
Yeah. It makes my eyes itch.
It's pretty apt.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying before, Vinny, you like comics.
Love them.
But you don't get to read them much, right?
Reading is my strong suit. I like to stick to my lane.
So, pictures and words together, though? That works?
Mostly pictures, but yes, sometimes I read some of the words.
Justin and I have top 5 lists of series, or just individual issues. I went with series that we think you should read in your lifetime.
Okay.
And they're not necessarily all of my top 5 faves of all time, but I think most of these would fit well for you.
Thanks. I'm ready.
Do you want to do your list, Justin?
No, you go first.
Okay. Ultimates Volume 1 and 2 by Mark Millar and Brian Hitch. I recommend this to everyone. One of the best drawn comics ever. If you're an Avengers fan, you'll see a lot of this has influenced the MCU, but it's done over a longer period of time, and it's a bit more gritty. The characters themselves, you can recognize them from classic Marvel, and you can see a lot of stuff they took from them for the movies, but they're a bit more harsh in a lot of ways. It's HBO's Avengers. And it's beautiful. A complete turnaround from that is Huck.
Like Huck Finn?
It's just called Huck. Written by the same guy who wrote Ultimates 1 and 2, Mark Millar. And I can't remember who did the art. I intended to look it up. But of course, completely incompetent with memory. And you can't just write Huck in. You know, Huck, Mark Millar. There we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you gotta.
It's kind of insulting that they only list writers' names. Come on. How do you not have... That is cold-blooded.
Gotta Yandex it, bro.
Coming back to the index. Anyway. Quite possibly the most good-hearted character ever written. It's like Superman meets Forrest Gump. Even nicer than Superman.
I'm interested.
Yeah. In a story about protecting people over protecting yourself, as a hero would, but also self-control, too. That comes up. And forgiveness. Like, there are characters who do stuff in this thing. As I was reading it, I was like, I hate that person. I can't believe they did that to him. There's no reason they did that to this person. And in the end, he forgives them. And it made me feel like a piece of shit.
Divine.
Midnight Nation, written by J. Michael Straczynski, with art by Gary Frank. And this is the series where this guy Gary Frank's art really took off. Like, he figured out his art style perfectly. It's about a detective who's trying to solve a murder mystery and finds the killer in the first issue, but the killer's supernatural and basically steals his soul. So he's got to spend the next 11 issues trying to save his soul. And there's a treaty between all the powers that be that when you try to go down this road, you're gifted a guide. So he spends his time with this woman from the hereafter who's trying to get him from point A to point B, telling him the whole time he's never going to make it. And running into different stuff and running into the people that killed him and that were doing the murders and figuring out what they were actually up to. He thinks it's the only way he can get his life back. But it's fucking excellent. It's intelligent, beautifully drawn, and consistent throughout. I actually love it.
Interesting.
Immortal Hulk.
Oh fuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little.
We can do some tweakage now? We have some overlap finally?
We did on that one because you know how I feel about that one too.
Yeah. Written by Al Ewing, who's done a lot of stuff for Marvel and DC, with various artists, but Ed Bennett specifically did the vast majority of the run. He has a weird style. His style is fairly comparable to Raphael Grampa's in that there's a lot of sketchiness. There's kind of a wrinkliness to it at times, but it's, as far as I'm concerned, better applied cross-hatching. And every issue, this is where you might snag, because I don't know how your hang-ups are with like drawn horror. I know you don't love horror movies, but every issue has some kind of weird body horror moment in it that makes you go, damn, I'm happy I don't live in that universe.
Bro, there's some fucking shit that just, like, it doesn't, like, turn your stomach or anything, but you're just like, that is fucking foul.
Yeah, like people turning into dolly paintings, essentially.
Yeah.
A lot of melting. Mm-hmm. And it's a different version of the Hulk than we'd seen in a while, as opposed to, like, Big and Dumb and Professor Hulk. This was, or Joe Fixit, the mobster guy. This one's smart enough, not a genius, but intelligent, crafty, vindictive, and as the title says, cannot be killed. And they try to figure out a lot of ways to do it.
There's many fucking attempts.
Mm-hmm. And there are a few things more disturbing than an emaciated Hulk.
Yeah.
And they...
Yeah.
What is it, a bomb up his butt?
A thumb?
A bomb up his butthole?
No, I think they...
Close.
Yeah, close. Yeah,
It's fucking close.
The last one I have, and this one's pretty right up your alley. It's brutal, though. It's called Berserker.
Ooh, my
Ooh.
love for you is like a rock berserker.
Would you like some making fuck berserker? Written by Matt Kind and Keanu Reeves.
Oh, right, I've heard of this one.
Yeah.
Art primarily by Lee Weeks, who's got a very scratchy style, but the guy's a legend in the industry. The guy's
I don't mind that though for that.
Yeah.
It's not as it doesn't have like the Ripley-ness to it. It's just it's
Yeah.
gritty looking.
Yeah, and the structures on his, like Raphael Grandpa's structures, are kind of cartoony, and then there's too much detail to them. They almost feel like a Ren and Stimpy close-up,
Yeah.
and those always turn my stomach.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah, right? They're just foul looking. Mostly by Lee Weeks, but there was one-shot issue. They did a 12-issue arc, and then dropped a bunch of singles with different artists doing it. One with art by this dude called Steve Scrose, who actually did storyboards for The Matrix. He did like a 50-issue run on Amazing Spider-Man. The guy, his art is fucking sweet, and applied to this story looks incredible. He did one where Keanu Reeves' character, because the character is based off of Keanu, you will see an anime of it. You will see a live-action movie eventually. Destroys an Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
Like the Ottoman Empire, but like,
One like it.
yeah, an entire kingdom gets taken down because they fucked with him.
Love that.
And of course, the obvious one, I doubt it's on Justin's list, but you really should read The Watchmen.
It's not.
Yeah, that's very, very, I literally have it labeled as an obvious one.
I mean, mine are pretty obvious, except for like 2. I also have a Mark Millar book. All right, Vinny, you ready?
I think I know which one it is.
You should. I knew you were probably going to go Huck, so I didn't put that on my list. Batman Court of Owls.
For writing and art.
Yeah.
Art
It's
alone.
the best fucking combo on a Batman book in a very long time. Fuck, why am I breaking... Well,
Scott Snyder and
yeah,
Greg Capullo.
Capullo. Yeah. It's beautiful to look at. It's so well written. It's a great story.
Yeah. Greg Capullo cut his teeth on Spawn for like 100 issues.
Yeah.
So he knows dark, cape-wielding ass kickers.
Keeping with the Batman Year One.
Yeah. Probably, I'm not going to say Frank Miller's best artwork, but his most consistent.
Yes.
His most straightforward. And
That's why I prefer it over Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. I mean, I personally think he peaked on Sin City. That's where his style is best. But he really tweaks it for Year One to look good for the time.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Into the world of Marvel, Kraven's Last Hunt is a great Spider-Man story that doesn't follow Spider-Man for the most part.
Yeah.
It is all pretty much done through the perspective of Kraven and thinking that he could be a, pun intended, superior Spider-Man.
Oh, first time someone tried it.
And leaves Pete for dead, but then realizes that it's not about the superpowers, it's about Peter being, fucking relatable to things.
Yeah, about decency, not having the power, using it, and what comes with using it, the decisions you make. And it really defined Kraven as a character,
Yeah.
and then over the years they've had some highs and lows.
Yeah.
And then they made a movie.
Sure, they did. Which is not that. That's not...
Although that will be Kraven's last one for a while.
Yeah. Nemesis by Mark Millar.
Yeah.
It's a world that has no superheroes and a supervillain. And it's fucking twisted. And it's not long.
No, it's not. It's a
not,
4-issue thing.
Yeah.
They've done other ones since then that I wasn't in love with. I think part of it is like McNiven's art style. It's one of the most detailed out there. He's the guy who did all the art on Old Man Logan. He's the guy who made that pop from Millar. Those two work well together.
Yeah. But it's really fucking entertaining, and I'm surprised, although we've talked about it potentially becoming some form of media, but I am shocked it hasn't been like a movie or a fucking series yet.
I think the big blame there goes to that fucking one superhero show Netflix had. Jupiter's, no, not Jupiter's. The one with Josh Duhamel.
Yeah. It was it was like the first. Why they
Jupiter's
put?
Legacy.
I think why they fucking put that one out first instead of some of his other work is beyond me.
Because it was capes and it was super powered, and they figured, oh, it's relatable. Everyone can get into it. When in reality, something a little more down to earth would have made more sense.
They should have done Huck first.
They absolutely should have done Huck first. Stop people in like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Then you do Nemesis.
Yeah. Then you're like, oh, he does superheroes too. Oh, that's quaint.
Yeah.
And last, Vin, this one you'll appreciate, but Marvel, after they got enveloped by the Disney bubble, did a couple runs of comics for IP from the parks, rides, and the Figment comic is one of my favorite things to read on the planet. I have the second series collected
The
from
collected
Mike.
edition?
Yeah.
Didn't I get you the first one?
Maybe it is the first and the second. I don't know. But the art's great, and just having like a pretty solid origin story for Figment and Dreamfinder. I have been begging for years that they redo the fucking ride in the style of the story that they do in that comic.
The covers on that series are good.
Yeah.
Actually, the covers are great.
Covers are
That's
great.
where I'm going to go with this. Covers are incredible. They're beautiful. And then the insides don't betray them.
Yeah.
They pop. They're beautiful. They most of the inks are done in color, so it's that kind of more painted style. Very fantastical.
Yeah.
So heartwarming.
Beautiful. Chef's kiss.
Okay.
Got him.
Now, out of that list, which one sounds best to you?
Well, Huck. Actually, all of them. All of them. We're probably gonna hit up someplace soon. Go to a comic book store, and I'll have a reason to go in. Mark my words, I will get one.
Not many around. Sadly.
But you can get a lot of that shit at the Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Nobles, or if you want to go digi,
Yeah.
Comixology is always an option.
No, it's not.
It's not?
I'm pretty sure Comixology folded, didn't it?
Did it?
I'm pretty.
Didn't Amazon buy them?
Yeah, but like they folded it into like Amazon Books
Prime.
or whatever the fuck it is.
You might just be able to get most of the stuff on Amazon Prime.
Actually, you might.
You never know. Not a usual show, not a usual ending. Thank you for listening to our issues. We'll be back with this whenever we've read enough. Until then, I am Mike.
I am Justin.
And Vin.
We say, fuck bye.
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 Sluts.
Because of the end of civilization, the Clamp Cable Network now leaves the air. We hope you have enjoyed our programming, but more importantly, we hope you have enjoyed life.